Peace Reflections. Before we start, if you've been feeling called to go deeper, I'm now offering one-on-one spiritual alignment calls, 60-minute sessions, to help you realign and find clarity. Message me on my Instagram at HumbleAli2times to book your spot.
Alright, y'all, man. It's your boy HumbleAli2times, you feel me? Back in the video, man, for me. Follow the Instagram at HumbleAli2times. Now look, these today's talking about our dogs are part of the Matrix. Now look, before up today's video, I want to give a huge shout out to the Most High in general for everything. I'm also giving a huge shout out to myself as well for wanting to receive this good information and give out this good information as well. I'm also giving you a shout out to y'all as well. Yeah, literally take energy out of y'all to come rock me, show me love, support, you feel me? I appreciate y'all, man. I love y'all so much more. I love always deeply. I'm also sending good positive energy, good positive protection, good positive feeling, and good positive energy towards everyone always deeply. If you want to buy my ebook, you can. It's $10.90. Link is going to be in the description and in the comments down below. Let's go ahead and get ready to the video. Now, are dogs a part of the Matrix? Disclaimer, I have nothing against dogs. I grew up around pit bulls for a lot of my life. I have a pit bull still right now as I speak. And I'm not here to try to scare anybody, especially if you have a dog or rather if you don't have a dog. But I am going to be being real with you in this video. I'm going to try to be real with you in this video. What is the Matrix? Let's talk about the Matrix, even though we've obviously discussed and decoded and broke down the Matrix multiple times. Let's just do a recap of what is the Matrix. So the Matrix is a simulation. It is a big program, and there's multiple programs inside the program. I'm going to say that again. It's one big program, but it's multiple programs inside of the one big program. When you're going to work, that's a part of the Matrix. When you're going to school, that's a part of the Matrix. When you go outside and you hear buses and trains and cars, that's part of the Matrix. A lot of these fake birds, part of the Matrix. Cows, part of the Matrix. Not a real actual animal, not a real natural animal, right? You know, you're going to the grocery store, part of the Matrix, right? Etc. A lot of things are designed and were programmed to keep you distracted. In other words, that is what we call the Matrix, the simulation, video game, right? Etc. 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 So with dogs, right? I know this might be like this is a very interesting topic, very interesting video. Where do dogs come into play? Well, dogs' ancestors would actually be wolves, right? Now, here's the thing with dogs. A lot of dogs are actually don't have a soul, right? So because of this, right, why do we feel so close to dogs? One, it's because you have animal DNA. Yes, you have animal genetics. Now, if you are somebody who does not have animal genetics, it still goes back to your genetics, because how the way we are designed, we're designed to be very connected to animals. But if you are somebody who has animal genetics, you are going to be very, very connected to animals. If you do research, a lot of people have had sex with animals, right? Now, why? I know that sounds crazy. It is definitely different. The reason why a lot of people have had sex with animals, right? I don't condone that. I don't recommend that. I'm not suggesting that. None of that stuff, respectfully. But a lot of people have had sex with animals, preferably with dogs, etc. Why? Because they have animal DNA. This is why if you look at a lot of white people and, you know, other races, if you notice, they'll let the dog lick their face. They'll let the dog sleep in the bed with them, right? Because that's the animal DNA in them. They'll lick some of the ice cream, let the dog lick some of the ice cream. Animal DNA in them, right? They look at that animal as like their girlfriend or their boyfriend. Nothing's wrong with looking at a pet as a part of your family. Nothing's wrong with that. But once you start having it in the bed with you, you know, stuff like that, hey, you letting it lick your face or, you know, your mouth, right? You know, it's just with certain things, it's just like, okay, bro, what are you doing, right? And people who have animal DNA, they have a very deep connection to animals, especially dogs, right? Have you ever heard the phrase, a man's best friend is a dog or whatever? Yeah, because they share similar genetics. The thing is with a dog, right? Why do you think dogs are so protective? Why do you think a dog will will try to protect their guardian and take a bullet for their guardian? Why do you think this is? Because dogs, a lot of dogs don't have a soul. And since a lot of dogs don't have souls, a lot of dogs are a part of the simulation. A lot of dogs, in other words, they're programs. They have been programmed to be, I'm not going to say the word like a slave, but they've been programmed to do as they're told in a way. This is why, if you notice, if you ever notice when you tell your dog to get in the cage, you've had this dog for 3+ years now. You know how this dog acts. That dog knows how you act. The dog doesn't want to get in the cage, but it always gets in the cage though. Why? Because these are programmed dogs. These are not natural animals to the planet, right? Their ancestors come from the wolves, etc. And a lot of these dogs do not have an actual soul. A lot of true, real, natural animals are going to have a soul. Most dogs do not have a soul. Yes, a lot of dogs have a spirit, but a spirit and a soul is two different things, two different energies, right? Two different things. So this is why, even if your dog really don't want to get in that cage, it's still going to get in that cage because it's been programmed to do as it's told. This is why dogs are very aggressive. This is why dogs are very just like protective of their owner. Why do you think it's called an owner? Because a dog has been programmed to act, I'm going to just say it actually, a dog has been programmed to kind of act like a slave. Why do you think once you buy a dog, that the dog is supposed to look at you as the owner, or they'll call you what? You are now the owner of this new dog. Why the word owner? Why can't it just be, oh, this is somebody, a part of my family now, or this is my pet, or, this is my dog? Why owner? Because the dog has been programmed into the matrix to act as if it's a slave to whoever owns it. Owner. If you take out the ner part, it just says own. What is own? Owning something means you are dominant. That means you are owning something. You are controlling something, right? Why do you think they be calling it the master bedroom? A lot of that went over a lot of people's heads. They're really being racist, and they're showing you a form of control of dominancy. But that's a whole nother, I can make a whole video separately breaking down and decoding the master bedroom. It's a deeper meaning. It's the reason why they call it master bedroom, right? But that's a different, I could, you know what I'm saying? I might just make a whole video decoding and breaking some of that stuff down, right? So with dogs, listen, y'all, I'm not telling y'all don't get dogs no more. Bro, I've had multiple pit bulls, right? I still have a pit bull living with myself now, right? It's just with pit bulls, it's reasonings and it's reasons why they are how the way they are, right? Pit bulls, how the way they were programmed, how the way the Matrix programmed them, they're programmed to be protectors and to kind of be like a slave in a way, right? You could beat the mess out of your dog. 15 minutes later, 10 minutes later, that dog is all on you again. Licking all on you, all up on you. Y'all, this dog is the best of your friend. This dog is your best friend now, even though you just beat that dog 10 minutes ago because it had used the bathroom in the house. Why is that? Why did the dog? This is the thing with dogs. Dogs, like I said, they're programmed to be a slave. This is why you could beat a dog 10, 15 minutes later, the dog is all over you, in happy mood. How is that possible? You just beat the mess out of the dog, right? Another thing with dogs is dogs are very spiritually in tune. Even though a lot of dogs do not have a soul, a lot of them are still spiritually in tune. It's not just their programming, how the way their programming system works, it has a big role in it. But what also has a big role in it too is their connection to the universe. If you notice, you could beat a dog 10 minutes later, it's back happy. With a person, it might take them days, weeks, months, years, decades to really, truly, fully get over that. A dog can get over it in 10 minutes. So can people, etc., right? Because dogs, they're very good, not just dogs, animals in general, they're very good at getting back to the present moment, especially dogs. I've been around dogs a lot in my life, preferably pit bulls, right? And they're very good at jumping back into the present moment, right? Another reason why dogs are so in tune with nature and stuff, when they're outside, they're not wearing any clothes. So they're consistently not constantly, but they're consistently in a grounding state, right? When they go outside, there's no socks, they're instantly going into a ground meditation, right? They're going into a grounding mode, right? So, dogs, they're a part of the matrix, right? A lot of dogs are a part of the matrix. Now, don't get me wrong, a dog can have a soul, but most dogs don't have a soul. I'm not saying that every single dog on this planet does not have a soul. I'm not going to say that. Excuse me, but what I am saying is that a lot of dogs do not have a soul. A lot of them just have a spirit, right? A lot of people on this planet don't have a soul. A lot of people just have a spirit. I'm gonna use myself as an example. Myself for an example. I am a soul and a spirit. I have both. A lot of people don't have both. Some people just have a spirit, right? Now, if you have a soul, you obviously have a spirit, right? It's just, you know what I'm saying? You feel me? But yes, though, dogs, like, this is why a lot of people get dogs. A lot of people get dogs because they want to protect her. So if they want to protect her, why would they get a dog? Because that's one of the dog's main programmings. That's one of the dog's main programming system, is to be a protector. Not just to be a protector, but to be a slave. Why do you think they call it owner? You are the owner. Isn't that kind of similar to slavery, right? Oh, this is the owner of these slaves over here. If you want to buy these slaves over here, you have to talk to the owner, the person who owns the slaves, the person who feeds the slaves and tells the slaves when to use the bathroom, tells the slaves when to stop picking cotton. Doesn't that seem similar to what we do with dogs? We tell them when to use the bathroom. We tell them when to get in the cage, right? You got to really think more. Things are very deep, deeper than what we may think they are, right? So, I'm not sitting there telling you that I can't get dogs and stuff like that, or, but, treat your dog, try to treat your dog correctly. What I mean by this is try to treat your dog, positively, right? You don't treat your friend that way, you don't treat your mother that way, etc. So why are you treating the dog that way, etc.? You know what I'm saying? Like a dog, they're a being as well. Whether they have a soul or not, they're still a being, right? And it's imperative to, be kind and to be in good natural energy. We are all reflections of each other. Whatever energy you give out, that's the same energy that you get back in return. That's facts. But look, man, I love y'all, man. So much more to love, always deeply. I catch y'all from those on the next one, man. Peace.